from your listening device all the way into your agent's psyche. It's Real Estate Between the Lines with Brian Lee. Teaching you things you didn't know you needed to know to help you become a legendary agent and turn your clients into raving fans.
Welcome to Real Estate Between the Lines. I'm your host, Brian Lee. I'm all about helping the real estate industry improve one agent at a time. Today, it's Angie. Angie, we're helping you. Not anybody else.
She's at the office today.
She's at the office today, too, exactly. So we are out to help every agent that we can, but today is that one agent. So, Angie, if your name's Angie, we're helping you. Everybody else, we're...
Not today.
Episode, 30, 45, whatever it is. Anyway.
Yeah, you can look right there and tell Angie.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Angie. It is you today.
For the YouTube viewers.
That's right. Cate, you're
Hello.
with me today, aren't you? Are you with me? I guess I'm talking to you, too. So it's Cate and Angie today, both. You're an agent.
Okay, yes. I'm an angel agent, remember? From back.
Christian, you're here, too. Hi, Christian.
Hey, wait, what does that make me?
I don't know.
PC.
So welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for joining me today. Joining us and helping Angie with her mid-year review.
Yes. Awesome.
Today we're getting into episode 29, which is our mid-year review. So when this comes out, most of our episodes are what we call evergreen. That's the technical lingo for those
Christian's
of you
term.
that are not podcasters. I mean, those of us that are will get it. Evergreen meaning that you can listen to this episode all the time. It's something that's relevant throughout, pretty much anytime you listen to it. This one's a little bit more specific because we are here in the middle of 2020. This episode will come out the very first part of July. So we wanted to do a mid-year review.
Mid-year of 2020, we've had coronavirus, the murder hornets, we've had riots, which is no fun.
Riots and all kinds.
Holy moly, we just need like a tornado now.
A tornado, that'd be a dream.
And there was that big landslide in where was it, Switzerland or something?
Finland or whatever
Finland,
like that.
Yeah, like that whole big section of land. Oh, that was crazy.
Exactly, yeah.
This year has been
That's right.
nuts.
Now we just need some aliens. We need some Independence Day kind of stuff come down and all that. That'd be great. Yes. Fantastic. So anyway, we're getting into the mid-year review, and we're looking at it both introspectively. We're going to talk a little about how far we've come along and what's happened for us, but also agents reminding you that one of the things that gets lost for agents is tracking what they're doing. So we're in the middle of the year, so it's kind of too late to start at the beginning of the year to really do this. So hopefully you've done some of that, but still we're looking at the middle year and we still have room for change. Every episode, we have a song that we like to put out here that kind of ties into the episode. A
song that we never play.
A song that we never play. Due to licensing issues.
For copyright reasons.
But these are
never
all
play these songs,
on
but you
Brian's
play them in
phone.
your head.
Copyright infringement. I can sing them for you if you'd like. You want me? Perfect. Just
Okay,
What's our song for today, Brian?
Perfect. by a grunge group from the 90s. Billy Corgan was a lead singer. The Smashing Pumpkins.
Yummy.
Big fan of Smashing Pumpkins. I did like Interstate Love Song. Why am I Stone Temple Pilots? One of my favorite groups of all time. I love STP. I love Pearl Jam.
You
but
love a lot
Smashing
of
Pumpkins.
music.
I do. I like a lot of music. I am all over the board.
Your phone with music is like my phone with photos. You have a gazillion songs. I have a gazillion photos.
It's because I have taste and you have nothing else better to do.
I have
the
memories.
Smashing Pumpkins. The song is perfect. It's off of the album Adore. It was released September 1998. The song is track 3 on that album.
Great year.
Length 3 minutes and 23 seconds. Why is that a great year? Oh yeah, that's because it's when you graduated. God, you were such a young child.
I was not born then.
I robbed the cradle there. Those of us that graduated in 88 don't have a lot of room to
You're
talk.
both 88, right?
No,
You're
85.
Yeah, he's a little bit older.
That's
tad bit older. Anyway, moving on. Interestingly, this song, the reason I picked it was for two reasons, is that the album itself was actually the band's mid-career album that really changed their future. Prior to this album, They had some upswing and all that around this time, late 90s. Billy and some of his other his bassists specifically, but a couple of his bandmates did not get along, and this was their last chance, their last opportunity to really make this. After this album, a lot of things changed for Smashing Pumpkins, and not necessarily for the better. So it's one of those things that, again, if they had looked at their mid-year career, their mid-career, and made some changes, maybe they could have gone on to have a very long, successful thing. Again, Smashing Pumpkins are still a great group. Don't want to diminish them. Don't want to knock down Billy. But again, it was never the same after this album. I also chose Perfect because that's what I am, right, honey? I'm perfect.
Oh my gosh.
No, I didn't pick it because of that.
Yes, honey.
The point is that like many artists, like many agents, that you start off really strong. You have this a lot of gumption. You have a lot of energy. You have a lot of drive, and you get sidetracked, or you're just not going forward very strong, and you're not paying attention to it. You're not seeing. You're not tracking the things that you need to do. So we're going to give you some ideas today of how you can work better. That way, you are planning for things, that you are setting up some metrics that you can look for, and then watch them as they go over time. And now in the middle of the year is a perfect time to look at that, especially as Cate already indicated. I mean, I'm sure that those of you that did plan for 2020, maybe if you like a good business person back in November, December of 2019, that you would have put together an idea. I'm going to do this marketing plan. I'm going to try to hit this number and all that, with things that we'll talk about here in a second. But then coronavirus happened, murder hornets happened, all these other things have happened that's really sidetracked everything. Fortunately, real estate hasn't taken a big hit, but still, I'm sure it has changed the course and direction for many people. Yeah. And if you didn't have a direction, you don't even know what happened there.
Yeah, definitely.
You're right, B.
Thank you. What was that thing? I chose
Just throwing
perfect.
that in.
Reading. I chose perfect because that's what I am, right, honey? Okay.
Yes.
Where's the?
You're right.
B?
Yeah, you read it as written off the script.
Oh, shoot. If only Super B were here.
I know.
You read your own copy very well.
I don't know who wrote the script, but man, they did it right on. It is perfect. So, business owners, I'm talking to you. And what I mean by that is agents. You are all business owners. You make all kinds of mistakes. I have made a mistake every once in a while. You could cut that out, Christian. Cut that out of her.
He does make mistakes.
You're right, B.
No,
Yes.
bad timing on that.
Timing.
You teed it up for me. What do you want me to do?
Yes.
Could have hit a different
I'm
one.
just over here producing.
You could have done the Brian side note tangent. This is how I do a tangent with me. Anyway, the mistakes that you're making quite often is that you have a lack of planning, you have a lack of follow through, you're not tracking what you're doing, and probably the most important thing is that you're not reviewing any of these things.
And you're talking to Amy, is that right? Wait, who
I
was
was
Angie.
talking to Angie.
Angie,
Yes, I'm
yeah.
sorry. Thank you.
You're
Forgetting my
telling
audience
Angie.
here.
What do you
Angie, yeah, Angie, you're not following through. You're not reviewing very well.
Poor Angie.
She knows
She's gonna get beat up
exactly who
this
she is.
episode.
She's
Yeah.
going to listen to this and know who
Yeah.
she is.
She's gonna
She's
wish
out
she
on
had-
a boat right now.
She
There's
is.
nothing
her
wrong.
boat is called The Office. She named her
Really?
boat The Office.
Wow,
Yes.
that's cool.
So yeah,
Yeah,
she's
real
at the
cool.
office right now.
Real cool.
Some of us are jealous. So some of the goals that we're working on here is, again, since we're midway through the year, it's probably too late to really do anything about the beginning of the year, but still we can look back and see, okay, what happened over the last 6 months from January 1st to here in the middle of the year in June. What has happened for you? Again, maybe you set up some ideas of I was hoping to hit this number of calls. I was hoping to do this marketing thing. I was hoping to do some social media advertising. I was looking to have 10 transactions by this time this year. I was hoping to have this many contacts. So hopefully you've got some of those. Look at them now. Look at them right now and see where you are. If at the beginning of the year you were hoping to have had 5 marketing campaigns and you have 3 of them done, I'd say you're doing pretty well. You're knocking it out. You're going to do pretty well. If you planned on having 5 and only one of them is done because you got sidetracked because of family situation. Maybe you have a spouse that was laid off and so you couldn't work, whatever. There's multiple reasons. It's not a criticism by any stretch, but maybe you only have one of them done and you still have 4 to go. We need to look at that. We need to ramp this up. We need to do something or make a change. Exactly. Kick it in gear. So look at those goals and go through there again, because those metrics changed. And the good thing is, again, we do it mid-year because we still have half of the year left. It's not that we're in November and like, oh my gosh, I didn't hit my goal. I'm 20% off of my numbers and I'm screwed now because I'm going into November, December. I'm at the end of the year. We're in the holiday time period. Now's not the time for a course correction. Right now in June, the middle of the year, we still have time. You're hitting the strides of the summer and we can knock this out. You still have a chance to do it.
Exactly. We have a goal checklist that we have for our agents, and it has quarterly reviews, just kind of tracking what are your numbers compared to what your goal was, where did you need to be at first quarter, and now we're at mid-year, so let's review. What are our numbers, like you said, whether it's phone calls, newsletters, mailings, emails, whatever it may be. Ideally, you're tracking all of that, and you have a goal for it. So look at that and then kind of evaluate, what do you need to rev up, what do you need to focus on and give a little more attention to.
Yeah. And also just make corrections because, just as an example, one of the things that we promote very heavily as far as marketing, if you will, it's not even technically marketing, is what we call touches and connections with clients. So normally you'd want to go out and have lunch with them. You'd want to spend some time with them, hang out with them. I know you do your dates, your play dates with your girlfriends and stuff like that. And COVID-19 didn't allow you to do it.
Yeah.
So it might have been your goal that I'm going to go out every single month. I'm going to have 3 every single month. So that gives me 36 this year that I'm going to knock out. Well, I bet if you'd look at it today, you don't have your 18. You don't have half of them done. And there's a good reason why. You couldn't. You weren't even allowed. We were quarantined. We weren't even allowed to be in touch with each other. Maybe you did something still. Maybe you did a Zoom meeting or whatever, so you can account for that. But does that mean you still need 36 for the last part of the year? And I would suggest that probably not. So let's revise that you didn't get the 36 that you hoped, but we could still do the 3 every month going forward. Hopefully.
Exactly. And like you said, if you had 36 in-person meetings that you wanted to have throughout the year, lunches or whatever, and you couldn't accomplish that again, COVID or something happened, maybe you can adjust since it's the second half of the year and maybe pick up on phone calls, increase the number of phone calls to help offset that. So you got to be able to be flexible, and that's okay. Don't beat yourself up. But just make adjustments where necessary. That's what this review is all about.
No, and that's a great point, is to not beat yourself up, especially I hate to say that we have an excuse, but I think COVID-19 really is a good excuse for people not to have been able to do a lot of things they wanted to do. But, if you're listening to this in 2021, 2022, 5-6 years down the road, hopefully we're around that long. But if you're listening to this, things happen to you. Again, whether it's a sickness, a family issue, a business issue, whatever it is, it gives you the chance to look to see, what was I planning for? Okay, where am I at right now? And this is, like you said, quarterly, semi-annual, whatever. Am I on track? I'm not. Okay, do I need to make a change? Did something happen that made that? Or is it just that I was lazy and I need to step it up? It's because of me that it happened. So the next thing we get into then is that one of the biggest problems is that for most agents, they don't even know what changes are needed. The reason they don't know is because they haven't written anything down. Again, I want to do better. Last year I sold 20 homes and this year I want to sell more. Okay. Well, if I sell 21 homes, you technically sold more. That's not really helping anything. So write them down. Be specific. Say that last year I sold 20. This year I want to sell 25. I want to sell 30. Whatever the number is. Nobody's here saying what it should be. Certainly you can plan for it and be realistic, but have a number, have it written down. You need to have a trackable metric. That way we can work through this to say, okay, well, if I was hoping for 25 sales over the course of 2020, and I'm here in the middle of the year and I have 5 sales, I'm off. And again, maybe there's a good reason. Maybe COVID-19 did slow you down or something else slowed you down. But if you're at, 10, 12, 13 for the year, then I'd say you're doing really well. You're on track.
Especially
and you're
with
doing
COVID-19.
Well. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So maybe you're going to do even better. So if you didn't go into it, if you just said, I want to do more, what is more? Again, that's a big deal. So write it down, be specific, and have them be trackable.
Exactly. And so one acronym that we've heard of is goals need to be SMART. specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. They need to have a time frame. So, but like you mentioned too, don't beat yourself up. If you didn't write them down earlier in the year, now is a great opportunity. You know what? What do you want to achieve in the next 6 months? Evaluate what you've done in the first 6 months and how can we shift that, or where do you want to be at the end of the year? What is a 10 for you?
And I love that. I love that. It's exactly right. Is that some of you have written some stuff down. Good managers and all that will sit down with their agents. I know that we sit down with ours and work through this with them. So maybe you had some numbers and maybe they need to be changed. Many agents don't have anything written down. And just because you haven't done it yet does not mean that you can't still do it. Again, it's the middle of the year, guys. You still have a whole half of a year. I guess that kind of sounded weird. A whole half.
But that's right. It's a whole half.
It's a whole half. It's a half of a whole. You have 6 months out of the year left that you can still do something. So again, whatever numbers you've had over the past 6 months, great, not great, whatever, you can make that change. So do it now. Start it now. Sit down and work through that.
Yeah. So on a side note tangent.
Can we open the segment?
I was getting ready to go on to the segment. Fine.
Picking up speed, things are gonna be great. Wait.
Side note tangent.
It's a side note tangent with Cate.
So back in the day, kind of on topic, so you can't get too mad at me here, okay? It's about goals and stuff.
Of course it is. It's always on tangent. Topic, not on tangent.
I'm a big proponent. I take a goal setting class every year, and there was one specific one that I took every year. This instructor would always start off by giving us 5 minutes to sit there and list as many things that we could think of, anything that you wanted to achieve in your lifetime. It could be anything and everything from like, I want to walk 30 minutes a day, 3 days a week, or, I want to have fresh flowers on my table or whatever it is. So, yesterday I decided to look back at my goals from 10 years ago.
Oh,
and
nice.
I'm
interesting. This was back when you were a baby agent. I have a picture too. The rattle was kind of cute in your little marketing team.
This was pre-children and actually pre-Brian, too. So just so everybody is aware.
When she was happy is what she's saying.
Oh, gee, the crickets. No. So a few of them, I didn't write them all down, but I will share a few. One of them was be debt-free. Thanks to you, I am.
Took 10 years and Brian to make that happen.
It did, because I was not diligent enough to do it myself. Building a dream home. I pretty much have that. We didn't build our house, but it's pretty close to the floor plan. Yeah. And it's except for my white cabinets. I don't have my white cabinets.
You and Christian, jeez.
Love white cabinets. Trip down the East Coast. Hopefully we can do that on the bike someday. I would love that. Trip to Santorini, Greece. I wanted to get my pilot's license. Own a house on Lake Wawasee. Gallop on a horse, which I've ridden. We've trotted.
Can you trot on a horse? So trotting isn't going to be it. You want to gallop on a horse.
Oh, no, I want to gallop. I've done it before when I was younger, and there's just something about, it's like riding the bike. There's something freeing. I don't know how to.
What if it's like a jaunt? Can it be a jaunt?
No, it's
galloping. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay.
Flip a house, done. Go skydiving. I would still do it, but I don't really care anymore.
Push out a plane if you want.
He said that on the air.
You said you wanted me to.
Skydiving, that's different. And learn Spanish. So some of these are still on.
Sí.
Yeah, sí. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Así.
Eso sí, ¿qué es?
¿Dónde está el baño? Some of them I don't care about anymore. But, it's just it was kind of cool to look back.
That is
I was
neat.
like, oh.
I like that. I like that.
Do you guys have any crazy life goals that you still want to achieve?
I don't really have any life goals that I can think of. I mean, I
know you have everything. It's right here.
Live a dream life.
Exactly. Yes.
I'd love a huge pole barn. That's still one of the things. I don't know why. Just a big workshop.
Yeah.
And just something to get to.
I think that'd be good.
Retire with a beautiful lady at my side, walking on the beach, hand in hand.
Me, right? You're talking about me.
A beautiful lady. Christian, how about generic. I'm trying to leave it generic.
I don't know. I have a few tracks I want to drive. That's on my list for the next few years.
Anything like
Road America, Circuit of the Americas.
Okay.
Yeah, some
have you been to Barber?
Yeah, I'm going back this year.
In September?
Yeah. Well, it's October, I think.
Okay.
But anyway, there's some things like that.
Yeah, nice.
Have on just in the back of my head.
Mm-hmm. You should write them down. Put a time frame on them. Make them smart.
They're in here like a steel trap in here.
Oh, okay.
It gets in there.
doesn't get out.
Good to go.
Okay, nice. Well, that was my side note tangent. So it was kind of on topic.
We're picking up speed. Things are gonna be great. Wait.
Side note
Act it all out.
tangent.
It's a side note tangent with Cate.
Well, now that we can get back into the episode, thank you very much. I'm on item 6 here. If you were sticking with this. So writing up this thing, putting together this, again, if you've already done this, great. If you haven't, review it. Here are some things that you should include in your metrics and all that. The first one is to create systems to handle your transactions and to handle all these things. Again, have something that's a checklist, something that will take care of your clients, whether it's showings, transactional items, your files and all that. Make sure you have that. Have a system for that.
A good CRM is a really good
great.
addition
CRM
here.
will do it. For your office, if you have assistants, if you're a managing broker, I'm the managing broker of our office. Cate and I co-manage the brokerage firm, and so we have agents that we're responsible for. So there's things that we take care of, our assistants, our employees, the closings that happened, all those things. So make sure you're doing that. Look at that. Are they working right now? You may have had a system you started out with, and everybody's like, "This is so funky and so janked up and everything like that. It's just not working." Let's review it. Are we getting what we need to get? Are we missing things? Are people doing what they're supposed to do? The other thing is to look at your budget. Again, I don't want to get a whole lot into budgets right now, but still, those are things that you should be tracking too, that you should have at least had some idea of what your income was going to be this year. It may not have been right on, but you know that you're going to, or you think that you're going to sell 20 homes and you're going to make approximately $3,000 per home. So what is 3,000 times 20? I'm lost. It's $60,000.
10? Oh.
I'm just doing the math for Cate because it was a trick question for her. She would have carried the zero somehow differently.
I would have put the decimal in the wrong place.
So you're expecting that $60,000 year income. If you're at 20 this year already, halfway through the year, you might be in trouble. If you're at 40 this year, I say you're doing really good. Also with expenses, you certainly should have accounted for the fixed expenses, the fixed cost. You have office fees every single month. You have my board dues that are due every year, insurance, things like that. Those things are probably still there, but also the variable things. Your advertising. Again, we talked about COVID-19. Maybe your advertising changed, that you weren't able to go out and have lunches with clients, that you weren't able to spend time with them as much. So your meals budget might be off, and rightly so, but maybe you did something different. So just track all that.
Yeah, and this is a great time, like you said, if you're tracking your income and your expenses and you realize because of, some major life event, whether it's the COVID-19 or death in the family or something, but your income isn't what you anticipated, then at this point, maybe we need to restructure a few things on expenses and where you're outputting money. Maybe we can shift that so that you're not spending as much.
Yep.
I know I have to do that every month.
Right, a reminder.
Don't spend as much. Don't spend it, or I have to make more. So, yeah.
We'll have an episode coming up soon about time management. The time management, we'll talk about, how many days, the hours that you work, batching daily tasks, but look at that. If you have a time management plan, how are you doing with that? Are you keeping in line with it? Do you need to make changes because maybe it's not working for you? Client satisfaction. This is one that is huge. So many times that agents don't do this, whether it's sending out a survey, having a third-party company reach out to them, whatever. You want to find out how they're doing. You might be thinking that you're doing great and you think that your clients love you, but when you actually find out the real numbers, they're giving you 5s and 6s and not as great as you thought. So you need to do this. So again, looking at all these things, where are you at with all of it? What have you done? What have you thought through? What do you need to do? Are the systems working? If they're not, do they need to be tweaked? Do you even have a system? If you need help with that, one of the big things that we're an advocate of is getting a business coach. One of the services that I offer personally and have done in the past is business coaching. And I'm not here to try to sell you on anything right now. That's not the purpose of the podcast. But whether it's me or it's somebody else, get with a business coach, somebody that can help you with this thing, whether it's setting up your business from a legal standpoint, getting you financially set or not set, but prepared and all that to come up with what a budget plan looks like, a marketing plan. This is something that you need, agents. It's so incredibly crucial for the little bit of money that you'll spend on having that business coach. You're going to do so much better because the cost that you pay is minimal compared to what you're going to lose by not doing it. So finishing up the episode a little bit, we wanted to be a little transparent that I'm going to throw this over to Christian a little bit here. So between the lines, we've made a lot of changes.
Not between your lines.
Between Your Lines is not doing so well.
It's a spinoff.
It's not doing well.
It's not trending very well. It's very boring.
It's totally me. I stink.
We've learned a lot, haven't we, honey?
Yes. I have learned on my mid-year review to think before I speak.
Yeah, she still won't.
No, I won't.
She loves her foot in her
won't.
mouth.
I do.
But that's why we adore her. Which, thinking about a door, that was the Smashing Pumpkins. Anyway,
True.
So we're not above this. We want to practice what we preach. That again, early 2020, we had some goals. We again, they were minimal. We didn't have high expectations other than for Angie. Angie, we're still talking to you.
Where's Angie?
She's on a boat.
She's on a boat.
Probably left.
Yeah.
Angie, are you still there?
She tuned out. She was out 5 seconds
Yo,
in.
Angie.
But this was the first time we've ever done a podcast. I've been on the radio before and all that, but this is just a completely different thing. I'm learning. We've grown. We've changed the podcast.
So I have some metrics I can go through.
We've checked through that.
On
So
that.
we'd love to hear it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we started off. They're not so much hard numbers metrics, but when we started off, I think we wanted to do a podcast, and the issue that I had right off the bat was, and then do what with it? So the first order of business, even really when we were probably in pre-production for starting the podcast, was we had to make a YouTube site, which we have, and we have videos out there for all the podcasts, most of them except for some of the locked-in stuff. We got our podcast out, got that on iTunes and Spotify. We've got an Instagram presence now, which we didn't have. So content's going out there from the podcast.
Much to my chagrin, I was so far against
But you're active.
But we're
in
doing
Instagram.
it. We're doing it.
Facebook, we've beefed up those sites. We've made individual sites for both of you guys. We've expanded Cate's brand a little bit with Rubicon Realtor.
Very nice.
We got Brian C. Lee as a brand.
Yes.
Within that, we have a Brian C. Lee website. None of this stuff existed.
It's almost egotistical in a way, but I'm very proud of it. The Brian C. Lee thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, to go back to Q4 of 2019, none of that stuff. Well, maybe the Facebook sites and some.
I mean, they might have
format.
existed, but they were empty.
Right.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of going from, really not much of an online presence, minimal, let's say, to having a place where consistent content comes out, it's related to your brand, that feeds into the podcast, which dovetails into your personal brand. All those sorts of things are the metrics I use pretty much for the first half of this year. Because getting those things from really 0 followers and you following 0 people, for example, to Instagram now you're up to a couple hundred and you're growing it. It's on the right track.
So we have all this.
direction.
Now we just need listeners,
All
right?
we need is listeners.
All we need is listeners.
Which
Angie,
brings me
Angie,
to Angie. Where's Angie? We lost
Angie?
Angie,
We
can you
lost
tell some friends,
Angie!
please?
Whoa. Yeah. Still not there. But we did pass 1,000 downloads
That's fantastic.
in the first quarter, so I was happy
happy.
with
I
that.
think
So very, very
999 were me.
Yeah, could have been. Could have been.
I just bought a bunch of phones and
Yeah.
accounts.
The algorim is pretty sophisticated. You can't
so-
trick it that easy. So they're unique
So
listeners.
they're like real people
yeah,
downloading?
they're real people downloading.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we've got work to do. We got work to do on YouTube. We
Yep.
need to get that going. We've got work to do certainly on the podcast, on Instagram. But
Clearly.
early on, going from not much of a presence to having at least a broad based on the major platforms has been the metric I've used. So
You're such a good cheerleader.
Yeah. We're doing good, honey.
He always tells us
Yay.
baby
Going in the
steps
right
are
direction.
good steps.
That's
Yep.
right, that's right.
Yep. I want to see the end. I want to be like, I want to hit the
Yeah.
pinnacle, but it doesn't happen overnight.
well, you have a platform now, so that's
Yes.
good. That's a metric.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for helping us get there.
That is, like I say, that's kudos to you and everybody that's behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And there's a creative team.
there's
You
some
got
people
Jordy in
behind
there.
that.
We
Yep.
got Cate.
Souls.
Yeah.
Kate with a K.
There's a lot of people working behind the
Sahara
scenes.
Souls. She's
Yeah.
my Jeep girl.
Yeah. And don't forget Mal.
Saying. And Mal.
Yeah.
Well, Mal
And
does everything to make us look good.
I didn't mention the last.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
We switched email providers.
Oh my gosh.
That's huge. That was huge.
Oh my gosh.
From Mailchimp to Constant
Which-
Contact. Letting
Yes.
you guys, little inside baseball talk here.
So Mailchimp, though, oh my goodness. I
We
know.
won't- I don't wanna
We
go
don't
into-
need
I don't
to
wanna
dive
go
into
into a
that. But
Mailchimp
yes,
side
we
note.
did switch from Mailchimp
Yeah.
to Constant Contact, which
Yeah.
I like.
And
I like
our
Constant
email list has been growing.
It has.
Another
has.
metric.
Yep.
we
If you'd
track.
like to subscribe,
Yep.
where do they click a button? You do all that. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's out there somewhere.
Somewhere.
We'll put in the show notes.
Put it in the show notes.
If you're listening, that's all that we care about right now.
Yeah, right.
We're just interested in all that. So yeah.
Even though we lost Angie.
Yeah.
She clearly has no more interest.
We're very proud of what we've done, though. Like just as Christian has said, is that we had some ideas at the beginning of the year. We've met a lot of those goals. We still have more to go through with the number of episodes that we thought. COVID-19 changed it for us a little bit. We had the opportunity to interview some great people so far. We're looking forward to doing more of that, growing our audience. We are getting into a groove. We're feeling good about this. It feels nice to be in front of here or in front of the microphone and talking with you guys for a change, because normally
on second quarter goals, we'll beef up the Indiana Real Estate Institute. That's sort of a focus for next. The teaching stuff that you do, speaking stuff that you do, all that stuff will be growing next half of this year.
That's the plan. And also, I happen to notice too that I'm looking at both of your faces that you guys are smiling now. You must just really enjoy being with me. That had to be a great change.
That was the conclusion you came to.
I mean, how could we not? It's been beautiful since the beginning. We love being with you.
I was thinking about the burrito bowl we had
oh my God.
for lunch.
For lunch.
Jeez.
I love Chipotle.
Is that a plug? Are you getting money for that?
Trust me, I don't get any money for that.
You get tens of dollars from us.
Tens of dollars.
Woo, rolling in the dough. Well, I agree. I think we've made great progress. Thank you to producer Christian for reminding us that, again, baby steps are still forward steps. So don't forget that, guys. If you're out there and you're looking at your goals and you didn't hit it, don't fret. Just forward progress is always good progress. So I know I get hung up on the final product, and it's okay to just look at where you're at in the process. So, and a good reminder is to kind of think of your goals kind of like a budget, as Brian loves. Budgets are a little bit flexible. They can ebb and flow based upon things that are going on in your life and demands and whatnot. So don't forget, you can make adjustments to your goals to make them achievable, whether it's time frame, your numbers, your focus, what you're aiming at. But look to see what's holding you back, how you can shift your daily tasks to achieve those goals. And that saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
That's right.
Yep.
Exactly.
So small tasks can help get you there more easily than trying to tackle it all at once.
And I like the Bill Gates quote, and I may get this wrong. It's not precise, but it's most people overestimate what they can do in a day. They underestimate what they can do in a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
or
a good
something
one.
along those lines.
Yeah. No, but that's
And that's in that case of the stuff I listed off. It seems like a lot.
it is.
But each one of those was an effort, lasted a few days, a few weeks, or whatever, and then 6 months in, you're down the road. So, but yeah, I do like that thing of keeping the end goal in mind, and then just chipping away at it.
Little
bits
bit
at
at
a
a
You have to
time.
do it all in one
Exactly.
day.
Nope.
If you're behind your goals for this year, COVID set you behind. There's plenty of time.
Yeah.
You have time to catch up.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And just as long as you're keeping moving forward and all that, you may not be getting your numbers. Things happen, and you'll knock it out. So that's
Agreed.
great advice. Hopefully that helps some of you, and at least again, Angie, if you're still here.
Angie. Yes.
We lost Angie.
The quote for the episode this week, something to get you lifted up, comes from, again, yours truly. You cannot see where you're going if you don't look back at where you've been and see where you're heading. The idea of this is that you want to build a great business with clients that love you. Then you need to create something, write this down, follow, track, and change things that are part of your goals to help for your success. You need to have this written down. You want your clients to be happy with you. You want to make this happen unless you know what the things are, unless you know what a good client or what a happy client is, unless you know what a good business looks like for you, and you can't, and you don't track it, you're not going to get there. So we need to look back. We need to see what we're doing so that way we can see where we're going, where we're heading. That way you can knock it out. So in closing, again, just get your goals, that the goals can make or break your business. To do well, you should have them written down. You should track those metrics. You should change it when it's needed and watch it regularly. It is not too late to do this, guys. You can still do this. Right now, we're in the middle of 2020. There's plenty of time. But even if you are in October, November, when you're listening to this, you can make a change for the next year. So do that. What are you going to do for the rest of the year? You need to do it now, guys. If you haven't done it, take the time. Take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, take 20 minutes, whatever it takes. Sit down and do it. Get it done, and you're going to be happy. That's it for today, guys. We love your feedback. We welcome your questions. Again, if we can help you with anything on your business, with anything that you're working through, please reach out to us at Brian.
Angie, you're out there.
Yes, Angie.
Angie,
You're back.
It's Brian at Brian Seeley. That's BRIA. Okay. Brian at brianseeley.com. You can visit us on our website, too, at brianclee.com. Thank you for joining us today. Take care and make your day legendary.
You've been listening to Real Estate Between the Lines with Brian Lee. If you'd like to learn more about becoming a legendary agent, be sure to visit us at brianclee.com and sign up to hear about upcoming workshops and events. Now go out there and turn your clients into raving fans.